Human migration into New Guinea and to Australia began about 50,000 years ago. They arrived in watercraft, but because of the low levels of the sea, they did not have to go across large stretches of open ocean. Those earliest inhabitants migrated to other island groups like the Bismarcks and the Solomons. Beginning 5,000 years ago, traders from Southeast Asia showed up in New Guinea, and some stayed there, but others ventured further into other Pacific communities. Their descendants sailed large sea-going canoes throughout the Pacific, and by the mid-centuries of the first millennium AD, they established human communities in the Pacific Ocean. Human migrants were going to reach Australia and New Guinea long before any of them had begun to cultivate crops or herd animals. The earliest inhabitants of these areas lived by hunting and gathering, and for thousands of years the peoples would go between Australia and New Guinea without any sort of hardship. Those migrations, however, ceased 10,000 years ago when the rising seas separated the lands. After this time, societies in Australia and New Guinea are going to go different paths. The Aboriginal peoples of Australia maintain a hunting and gathering society well into the 19th and even 20th centuries. New Guinea peoples turned to agricultural produce by around 3000 BC with various root crops like yams and taro, and they also kept chickens and pigs, and that spread widely through the island. Aboriginal Australians lived in small, mobile communities that undertook seasonal migrations in the search for food. Plant foods constituted most of their diet, but they used various tools to take out animals like rats, kangaroos, birds, and fish. The earliest inhabitants of New Guinea foraged for food, like their neighbors to the south. Seafarers would introduce yams, taros, pigs, and chickens to the island, and the indigenous peoples there soon began to cultivate their crops and keep animals. Agriculture brings about population growth and a specialization of labor. After the change to agriculture, permanent settlements, pottery, and carefully created tools appeared throughout the island. Agriculture did not take root in Australia until the arrival of European peoples in the late 18th century AD.